There is one simple thing that you can do to make your graphic design portfolio look way more professional and high-end, and that is mockups. Hey everyone, my name is Megan. If you haven't been to this channel before, thank you for being here. I've been a graphic designer for the last 8 years, and I've learned so many things over those 8 years, and I love sharing that with you guys on here. But I really want to take a deep dive today into how you can make your portfolio look more professional, look more high-end, and not look so boring and flat and just generic. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of my favorite mockup tools, how to create a mockup, and also how to use AI to help you generate a really awesome, unique mockup. So if you are completely new to the design world, you might be wondering what the heck is a mockup. You might have heard this word being thrown around, and I think the design world especially has so much terminology that we all have to learn. Mockup is basically taking a really simple logo and putting it on packaging, on a sign, on a coffee cup, on a bag, and showing the client what the logo can look like in a real life situation. So a lot of times mockups are things that I like to show my clients in those initial presentations to help them choose the logo and to help us avoid a lot of revisions, because I think a lot of us are visual people and we like to see how the logo is going to look printed instead of just looking at it on a blank piece of paper or a simple page online. So it's really what helps bring your designs to life without having to go and physically print them all out and see it and take photos of it. This is just a really easy way to give the client or any viewers of your portfolio some context behind the design. So if you don't have a portfolio website yet and you're like, I don't really need a mockup, wrong. You can use mockups on social media, and that's truly what will stop people and look at your page if they see a mockup that looks like really awesome. Or maybe you do a passion project where you're redesigning like a coffee bean bag or a soda can or something. Having it actually printed out and in a social media post will really allow people to stop their scroll and look at it because it will visually be appealing. So we're not only going to be using these mockups in our portfolio websites, but we also are probably going to be using them on social media. We also could be using them in those client presentations to really sell the designs you're creating. And you can also use them in proposals and things like that for new clients that are coming through to really sell your work and paint the full picture. Okay, so I had to get all that out of the way, but let's talk about where to find mockups, because there's so many tools and websites and places that you can even buy mockups. But I think the most important thing that you should do when it comes to mockups is first figure out your personal brand, because you can take your personal brand and create mockups that fit within that. Because when it comes to posting on social media or sharing this on your portfolio site, you want to start creating that recognition behind your brand. And a lot of times it can be confusing if your mockups are something completely different than your typical style. And I think when you have that style and you're kind of even niching yourself down to that style through the mockups and through the projects that you're sharing, it can allow you to attract those clients who are looking for that specific vibe. So I would first figure out the vibe and the style that you want to start portraying, and also maybe figure out the target audience or the clients you want to go after. I don't think you really need to niche down to a specific client, but you can niche down to that specific style. And once you have your style figured out, then it's a lot easier to pick the mockup style that you like as well. So I thought I would walk you guys through my portfolio, where I found the different mockups and what I would do different, because it's really hard when you're managing so many things in your business to really focus on my personal portfolio and how everything's looking. That's why I want to take some time to edit that and improve that. But if I click on this project called Snap Bar Photo Booth, you'll be really surprised to hear that some of these mockups are actually AI generated. So the one with the camera and the sticker roll, that is AI through Photoshop. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And this box one at the top is AI. This one right here is Canva. So I just utilize that. Sometimes it's the easiest thing to do, especially for presentations. But yeah, it's really awesome how you can use AI to create something that probably not a lot of other people have. So I do like that. But I also wanted to share with you guys but for me, when it comes to mockups, I like mockups that look really clean, that look really realistic, and that kind of speak to the client that I worked with on that project. So for me, I work with a lot of wellness professionals, meaning I work with like estheticians, I work with dental clients, work with all types of people in those worlds. So I like my portfolio mockups to speak to that as well. One of my favorite mockup One of my favorite mockup shops is Moyo Studio. I think they have the most beautiful mockups. They also have tons of free options. If you sign up for their email list, they'll send you lots of free mockup options. So definitely check that out. But if we just scroll through their shop, you'll see that they have tons of awesome styles. You can search by the mockup type. So if you do lots of website design projects, you might want to search for like laptops or iPads or iPhones. If you do a lot of branding, maybe you want some stationery. So I love how they have organized it in that way to make it easy for you to find what you're looking for. And the cool thing is they have lots of bundles where you can get like 30 plus mockups within the bundle. So you'll have quite a bit to work with, especially for like building out your portfolio. But like I said, they do have free options. You just have to sign up for their email list and they'll start to send you those. And I still utilize those free options to this day. And I just think they have so many beautiful, very clean looking ones. Another great website for really nice, clean, super simple mockups. I think this one is really great for like social media content is Mockup Maison. I think that's how you say it. I'll link these down below for you guys, but I do feel like those have some really beautiful, simple ones, especially if you're looking for more specific things. Like if you want like hoodies or some like trendy looking shirts and bags and booklets and things like that, you can mock them up with this platform and you can buy it per mockup. I feel like for me and my business, I prefer to find free ones because I don't want to have to spend a ton of money on lots of mockups. So they do have a few free options. You can also sign up for their email list and get the free options. But besides all those platforms, I want to show you guys how you can create a mockup using AI. So let's head on over to Photoshop because if you already pay for Adobe, you might as well be testing out these tools and seeing how they work instead of spending hundreds of dollars on mockups. So let's play around with it. Okay, I had to mention a quick side note because I have invested so much time and money into learning how to bring my graphic design skills to the next level. And one of the platforms that have really helped me do that and has amazing courses for beginners or even those of you who are more advanced is Skillshare. They have so many awesome courses on there. I have personally been eyeing a course all about YouTube. It goes over how to create a YouTube script, how to film, how to shoot a really great YouTube video, how to edit it. And that's something I really want to learn more about. But if you guys want to learn even more about mockup creation or Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator in general, they have great courses for all levels. And I just had to mention that to you guys because if you're in that phase of wanting to improve your graphic design skills or learn some new services that you can offer, or even just to build up your portfolio, then Skillshare is the place to learn all of that. So go check it out and let's learn how to level up our design businesses together. Okay, now back to how to create mockups.
Okay, so I wanted to show you guys how to create custom mockups using Photoshop's generative fill options. It's really cool to make some really unique mockups that not a lot of people have. But I first like to find a mockup that has a transparent background. I know I mentioned a few of them to you guys already, but Create Tomb has some pretty great ones that don't have any sort of background. But like I said, I don't really want to pay for one, so I'd rather use one that is free, and I can search that by just clicking here and seeing the options that they have because not really wanting to pay. So just kind of searching through this, and then you can also just click on here if you want, and you can see the different mockups in here. So let's actually try to just view all of the free mockups. Okay, so I was looking for like more of like a water bottle. These are like beer bottles, olive oil, milk bottle, wine bottle. Okay, so I decided that I actually want to mock it up on a patch because for this specific client, we talked a lot about her kind of like modeling her logo design similar to a patch style. So on the right hand side here, we see logo has its own layer folder here. And then as you can see, this one has it very clearly labeled on where to place your mockup. So I'm going to double click into that. And there we have a simple logo to add. So I'm just going to back into my client's folder and I'm going to select that circle logo that I have. And I have a few different styles. I think I like this one, so I'm just going to throw this in here. And then sometimes I open up that other layer just to make sure I get the sizing right. So like that, and then I'll just hide that layer, and then we'll close out of this and save. And then it's placed on the patch, but it looks like it's not big enough, so I'm gonna open this up again. I'm actually just gonna make it a little bit bigger and save it. And then I'm gonna see if we can change the patch color. Yeah, looks like it. Or it looks like they're just using this like patch image. So let me close out of that. Okay, cool. So they have an outer ring color, and usually you can click into, it's not letting me change the color of that. So let's see. I'm just going to click back into this and see if we can even make it a little bit bigger. And then I feel like this logo texture is like very detailed. So I kind of want to change the opacity a little bit less. And then let's click back into the patch and we'll see if we can maybe change the coloring in here. So sometimes you can like lighten it up, or we can just leave it like that and see if we can. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll create like a square of the color that we want, which I want to actually reference that exact color. What we could do is actually just bring this in and eyedropper it. Okay. And I'm going to hide this layer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down to this here and let's mask it. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So I want it to be that same color. So I'm going to say create clipping mask. Perfect. Okay, so I feel like that's the closest we'll get to the coloring for this specific mock-up. So what I want to do now is just, we want to keep this, but I sometimes will export it with this transparent background. So click export as PNG and I'll open it up and I'll save it in the client's folder, save it. And then we'll do the generative fill based on that one. So I'm just going to open it up here in Photoshop. Perfect. Okay, so now this is the generative fill portion of the tutorial. So I have this selected. I'm going to click on select subject and it's going to circle around this, which is perfect. Sometimes when you have like an uneven shape or a mockup that's a little more detailed, you might have to go into adjust or modify the selection. When you open that, I usually go to transform selection and you can kind of do it from there, or sometimes I'll open up select and mask into this and it will allow me to do it, but it actually selected it pretty good, so I don't need to worry about that. But what I want to do now is I want to invert the selection. So when we do that, now it's going to be thinking about what's all around the patch, not the patch itself. And I'm going to click on generative fill here and I'm going to ask it to create a detailed kind of like AI generated scene. So for this client, it's all about health and wellness in the wilderness. So I'm going to say something like add dirt, like add forest ground with pine cones and pine leaves, and make the patch within and put patch within on the ground. So sometimes I really have to play around with like how to explain this to AI. So I'm thinking like a dirt forest ground, pine cones all around it. Maybe we can add hiking shoes nearby. I feel like they won't have hiking shoes off. Dirt ground, and make the patch look like it is part of the scene. Something like that. And then we're going to click generate, and it's usually pretty fast, but this is just a basis of like a prompt. Like I probably would need to define it a little bit more, but we'll see what it creates and we can kind of define it from there. But okay, not too bad for the first few. I feel like this one looks pretty good, but I want it to look more like within it. So we can either click generate again, or you can continue to edit the prompt, but I just click generate. So let's see what else it does. And then also usually can click on these three dots and say generate similar. Just want to see what it'll create. Okay, that one's not too bad. I'm gonna try a completely different prompt where I say add hiking backpack and tent. Now let's say add hiking backpack and with a few. Okay, we'll try that prompt and see what it does. It's really a matter of figuring out how to explain it the best way to get what you want. Okay, this would have been perfect if the patch was actually on the backpack. So I'm gonna say generate similar. We might just have to shrink the size of the layer, of our original layer. So I'm going to try that actually. I'm just going to shrink this down. Yeah, I should have done that in the beginning. So what I would do is restart this. Just going to continue opening this up. So I'm gonna copy this prompt. I'm gonna delete this layer. We're gonna go through those steps one more time, but I wanna actually shrink this layer before we begin. Select subject, invert selection, generative fill, generate. Try a few more. I'm gonna try saying add patch to a backpack, hiking backpack, and place it in a forest with tall pine trees and a few pine cones on the ground. Generate. Okay, this isn't really producing things that I want. I'm just gonna try a few more times. But sometimes it's just the mockup you chose that's like a little bit harder to work with. But I mean, we're getting closer, so I think it would just take some time. Okay, so that one would work. Let's see, generate similar. That one's not bad. I just don't like this like shadow under it, but I feel like that one's getting closer. This one looks pretty good actually. I prefer this type of hat, but that looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna say generate similar. Okay, that one looks pretty good too. That looks more like sewn on, which is what we're going for. This one's pretty good too. So yeah, we definitely have some contenders in here that I could potentially use in my portfolio, or even just as like social media content or posts and stuff to like add the full look to the branding. You can play around with this forever and come up with different results and tell it different things and kind of play around with the way you word it. But I just wanted to show you guys how to not only create mockups, but how to utilize the tools on Photoshop and how to make a more custom looking mockup to what you need. Okay, so I just showed you guys the Photoshop Generative Fill mockup generator, but I want to show you guys another tool that I have been using quite a bit actually, especially in like brand presentations and everything for my clients. And this is the tool called Recraft. They do have a free plan. It's a little bit limited, but it works, and that's the one I have. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a mockup in here. To start a new project, I'm going to click on mockup, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain kind of a similar thing, and we'll kind of compare if generative fill or this is better. So ball hat, a patch, up on hat, forest setting with cones on the ground and pine trees, background, sun peeking through. So similar to what we said Photoshop, but I want to change the sizing here. 16 is good for like social media, but we could also keep it one by one. Let's hit Recraft. This isn't going to put our logo on it yet, but the hope is that it'll make the patch the mockup, and then we can just drag the logo in here. It's actually not bad at all. Let's try instead of a baseball hat, I'll just say and see what it comes up with. I like this, but I don't want a patch style yet. Circle patch. Circle up. Pretty good. Way more realistic than Photoshop. Like this, so let's go grab our logo. Or no, wait, actually, yeah, but I was like, maybe we can use the, but we can try this. Get, and then magic happens. I'm just gonna drag it on top of here and be able to mock it up. Guys, but I'm already feeling like this looks a little bit more legit than Photoshop. Okay, let's try one more. I'm gonna take this Recraft hat and a hiking backpack. Now I'm gonna go back into here, which I don't think you guys can see. But I'm just gonna go find that patch mockup I created. I'm gonna bring it in here. When I drag it onto the photo, that it's gonna maintain that kind of effect that looks like a patch. Definitely wanted to show you guys this tool because it is something I've been using a lot for, like I said, my client friends, mockups, all that type of stuff. And I think it looks so legit. I had to show you guys this option as well. Oh, and the cool thing is to change the sizing, you can still do that in here. And you can either recraft it again or just recreate another one. I think that looks so good. So yeah, had to show you guys that.
I really hope that this video helped you guys out if you're in the process of improving your portfolio or making some social media content with some great mockups. Let me know if it helped you guys out by giving this video a thumbs up or subscribing to my channel for more. And let me know if you guys have any questions at all on anything I showed. And I will see you guys in my next video.